Welcome to the Daily Parks and Rec Show from the CPRS Conference 2026, where we share real stories from the professionals shaping parks and recreation today. In this episode, we sit down with Becky Lowndes from the City of Santee as she reflects on her journey, from discovering recreation through youth programs to becoming a leader creating meaningful community experiences. Hosted by Erazo of the City of San Diego, this conversation dives into career pivots, the power of community impact, and what it truly means to be a memory maker in parks and recreation. If you're looking for inspiration, career insight, or a reminder of why this field matters, this episode is for you. Let's dive in.
All right, good afternoon. My name is Erazo. I'm the Deputy Director for the City of San Diego Parks and Recreation Department. And as part of the Push to Play initiative, we are looking to hear stories of parks and recreation professionals at the CPRS Conference. With me today, I have Becky Lowndes from the City of Santee, and we're here wanting to know, Becky, what your story is. So I'd love it if we can take you way back to the beginning of your career before you even stepped foot into parks and recreation, and tell us what brought you to this path of your career.
So, well, thank you for having me. It's exciting to be able to share my story and hopefully inspire the upcoming professionals on why Parks and Rec is an amazing career choice. I think we all have a deep-rooted sense of belonging and feeling valued and wanting to have support at a young age. And Parks and Recreation is what that happened for me through youth sports, YMCA gymnastics, being able to do egg hunts with the community. Those are the things that I look back on very fondly of my childhood. And I didn't even know that I could even have a job in Parks and Rec, which I'm assuming most people don't. But when I went into college, I didn't really know many options. So both my parents were active duty Navy. And I thought, if you're either going to be in the Navy, a doctor, a dentist, there's so many hidden fields and careers I didn't know about. Mm-hmm. So I said, well, I like sports. I played sports in high school. I was the captain of the teams, and I really enjoyed being out there and being part of a community. So let me go into physical therapy, thinking that's where I was going to go. But you know what? Biology is hard. I did okay, but not great.
Right.
And I decided, if I have to retake one class, I feel behind. And so I was like, you know what? Let me just take a semester off of focusing on physical therapy, which, mind you, I'd never even stepped foot in a physical therapy office. So why would I go into a career?
Right.
I have no idea.
Right.
So I started taking electives, and I did a RTM, a Recreation Tourism Management 101 class at San Diego State, and I fell in love. I saw the promising future that we could have. I saw the variety of things that you can do in recreation. And I said, you know what, let me take a 201 or a 102 class and start to learn more. And I was able to join the Recreation Tourism Student Association, which is RTSA. And that was a great way for me to build community in college, where everybody's just trying to find themselves. Mm-hmm. So it was a good way for me to make friends, start to build a career by understanding what different options there are. A solid foundation of really great professors that were mentors and role models for me. A big shout out to Jason Hemmons. He's fantastic. He taught me one of my life mottos is DWISYWD. Do what you say you will do. That was a decade and some change ago, but I still remember it, and I try to keep that as one of my core values of how I move forward. So through the opportunities I had at San Diego State, I was able to get a job at the military recreation. San Diego is a really big town for military options. So Morale, Welfare, and Recreation, MWR, has a lot of opportunities there. So I was able to join the Liberty Centers, which is from 18 to 24-year-old single sailors. And they provide an alcohol and drug-free recreation opportunity because most of these young adults are isolated. They went off to boot camp. Right. Now they're in their first station and they don't know anybody. So it was a great place for them to stay clean, so they're not getting in trouble, stay interested and activated. And it was honestly one of the best jobs. I got to help facilitate their recreation dreams. So they would say anything from a Magic the Gathering card tournament against another base to bungee jumping and camping and whitewater rafting and snowboarding, a lot of amazing outdoor adventure that we got to do. And that hooked me. And I was like, this is great. I'm gonna continue to stay with my RTM degree and go forward. But unfortunately had to take a step back because I wasn't able to secure a full-time job. And, as young adults, we need to pivot here and there and make strategic moves. So I actually got out of recreation completely. I actually joined a private sector, a solar manufacturing company of all things.
Okay.
But the skills that I got there, I went from a front office coordinator to a human resources coordinator doing the training and development. So I really got to learn a lot about business and learning what a purchase order was, what procurement means, and really understanding professionalism from the business and private sector, so that when I was able to go back into the recreation field through the YMCA program, had an after school program. So I was able to take all the skills. I learned really professional email writing. I learned how to use Microsoft Excel. I learned what a KPI was and some things that I don't think I was privy to in my current MWR skills. Right. So I was able to blend the two of them together. And so I started with the YMCA after I left my solar manufacturing company. And there was an after school program. I had a privilege of having a one-on-one with a child with autism. So as an inclusion leader. Yeah. So it was a really awesome opportunity for me to kind of make a direct impact on a child's life. And through there, I had some extra free time, right, before and after school. So then I started volunteering with the City of San Diego in their Parks and Rec. So I really got to learn the back end of a variety of different things in our community parks. And so I was able to network, which I think is a really key foundation there for any industry and anywhere you go, but especially in parks and recreation, to network and to connect with those who can help lift you, help guide you, whether it's an unofficial mentorship or anything. That's really where I think helped me get to where I am today, is the partnerships that I made in the City of San Diego. So through my volunteerism for about 6 months, I was able then to be coached and facilitated to help be prepared for a full-time recreation center director, assistant recreation center director position. And that was honestly like the coolest thing. I had never really multitasked that hard in my life, but it was so cool.
Jack of all trades. Tell me a little bit more about your time with City of San Diego.
I love City of San Diego. I started at the North Park Recreation Center, and we were doing things that really made a difference to the community. I think that is honestly, in my reflecting on my entire career, I think that specific facility is where I felt the most impact. So I know that there are kids who have both parents are working 2 jobs, or maybe mom isn't home all the time. So having a safe place to go to after school as the teen center or coming into our youth sports programs, that really is impactful beyond what we know. So having our junior staff be their peers and their mentors, having us as a safe place for them to go, us partnering with the school district to provide free lunches when we can. Right. Like those are the small things that make the ripple effect just astounding. I guess it's fantastic. So we would do things like community events, sports. We would rent out facilities. We would inspire our junior staff to have passions and teach classes. So if you like arts and crafts, it's a great way for you to share your passion with the community. So I was in North Park Rec Center for a couple years, and then I got promoted where I became in charge of my own recreation center in the northern San Diego area. And that was great. In the northern area, I was dealing more with kind of adult groups or groups that were renting out the fields. So I got to experience kind of an outer level of supporting the community. Where North Park, I was direct one-on-one with the kids through summer camp, through rec programs, through special events. And then I got to kind of mature into the adult relationships and fostering those organizations that are also giving back. But I get to be the one to provide the facility, the structure, the make sure the lights are on so that they can give back to the community. And it was incredible. I have a really soft spot in my heart for both of those communities. And then I spent that position for a couple of years. And then I had the opportunity to advance even farther, where then I would oversee 3 recreation centers and all of the surrounding parks in that area as well. And with those, it's a lot of balancing between how can we provide equal service, but to recognize the individuality of each individual community under one giant city.
Right.
So it took a lot of understanding the needs of each community, and through discussions, through our CRGs. Can you help me out with the acronym for CRG?
Community Recreation Groups.
That's the one. Thank you. So the advisory,
which previously were known as recreation councils.
Yes. Yeah. So the meetings that we would have with our CRG groups is an opportunity for the volunteers of the community to provide us feedback. And it was so important for me to come in as a newbie to the area and really listen to what is it that they want. Maybe what is it? Sometimes we can't fund it, but it's really important for us to say, this is what they want. And it's up to us to figure out how can we do our best to provide that. After about a year or so of that, I had to make the difficult decision to leave City of San Diego and pursue an opportunity in the City of Santee.
I'm going to pause you right here because City of San Diego, being a very large city, 1.4 million people, what was the big difference for you going into a smaller city in recreation? How was that change? How did that impact your direction as a recreation professional?
Sometimes, so the new city that I'm in has a population of about 60,000 people. And it's been 3.5 years, but still it's hard for me to wrap my mind around that a community of 60,000 people has a city manager, a mayor, 4 council districts, because one of the communities I had just left from City of San Diego was also 60,000 people.
Right.
So there are still times I have to catch myself to be like, is this really a city? Because I'm so used to kind of
big.
Yes, large and so many different moving parts and just the amount of acreage that the City of San Diego has. But I do think it was a really interesting opportunity to come to a smaller agency and really be able to get to know the entire population by driving up and down the streets and it's ownership of the parks specifically that I'm recognizing,
right,
because it's not so much of this community versus that. It's everything is in the city is shared between everybody who lives there.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. And we have a very robust special events program in Santee, which I'm now the special ed supervisor. So I'm really excited to be able to create those long lasting memories. As we heard in our keynote earlier, or actually the inductee for the Hall of Fame was mentioning memory makers, and that really resonated with me because that's exactly what I'm doing right now. Is I'm watching the kids come to our ed cons. I'm watching them come weekly to our concerts, and I get to see their face, and I don't have to be the one that's right in front of them to provide the opportunity. I just get to have a back seat and say, this is what you get to look back on in your childhood, the way that I have those feelings, and I'm just so honored and grateful to be able to facilitate that for them and those for the families in my community.
That's fantastic. Do you find the difference in the workload to be more, do you have more support at a smaller city?
Yeah, I would say so, only because there's a fewer amount of people. Like physically, we're in an office now. And so proximity wise does change things. So the speed at which we can get some things done is because we have a smaller team. We can have in-person meetings almost whenever we want. You know, now we have the structured in-person meetings probably once a week, and it's a great place for all of us to physically be together, even though we're all in one office. City of San Diego was harder. We had to really schedule time out because then there's commute time, traffic time. Right. So some of the flow is better in a smaller agency just because of that, and there's kind of like fewer levels to change things. You have, since it's a smaller population, you don't have to worry about equity as much because everybody's contained in one area versus San Diego, right, where there's the north and the south and income disparities and different cultural diversity that's happening, that maybe certain holidays would want to be celebrated in a different way down south than they would in the north or east. So just the flow of what we do is a little bit easier, I would say, in a smaller
easier
agency.
To share the resources, I would assume, because you're focused on just that one population there in the center of the city.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. What is your favorite part about your job right now?
So I'm going to echo the memory maker portion of it, but it's fantastic because I get to have fun. I consider myself like the fun boss of Santee. So if I'm not having fun, everybody's in trouble. So sometimes I have to remind myself, I'm getting paid to do this. That is crazy to me.
That is the best part.
Yeah, we're doing summer concerts, which we are very blessed to have. Around 1,500 to 2,500 people come every week, and it's something that they look forward to. And so for me to be able to provide that for them, or just watching everybody's smiling faces as they come or as they go, or seeing the positive comments on social media after a successful event, or in like high-fiving my team to kind of like, whew, after a long physical day, like a 12 to 14 hour day on 4th of July, just all sweaty at the end, and just that feeling of like, man, we did it. And it was safe and it was fun and it was going to be a blast. And like once we can relax, cool, rehydrate a bit, then we'll plan it all again for the next
Right.
year.
Looking back on that moment, it's just such a relief and it feels so rewarding, right?
Mhm.
That
It does.
was also one of my favorite parts about being in recreation is that rewarding feeling of giving such a fun memory to families.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Tell me, where do you see your next steps? Where do you want to go?
It's hard. I feel like that the kid in me wants to stay kind of where I'm at, because the higher up you go, the farther removed you are.
Mhm.
And I see the importance of having somebody who cares deeply. The higher up you go into management, lower level or executive directors, different boards, the people who have put the work in at the bottom and have enjoyed it all the way at the top, I think are the best leaders. There's always a time where I'm like, I just don't know if I really want to step away, because I love being the facilitator of fun. I
Mhm.
love inspiring my kind of small team, but I do see at some point, I can imagine myself feeling rewarded and fulfilled by training, motivating, guiding a team that is now facilitating. When is that going to happen? I'm not sure. I always give an analogy like surfing, which I'm not really a surfer, but when the wave is good, don't jump off the wave.
There
You
go.
can still eye it out and see if there's another swell coming, but I'm riding the wave right now and I'm enjoying it. And then when another wave comes, or if this wave kind of starts to die out, I'm going to keep my head on a swivel and see what's around. But the best part about recreation too is that, unlike the private sector where it's Apple versus Google, like it's competitive, Parks and Rec is collaborative.
Mhm.
It is really cohesive. We are meant to share ideas. We are meant to borrow and enhance, because we all have the same outcome is for the community.
Mhm.
And I think that same goes with the teams as well. Is that you sometimes maybe a skill set is going to be more obtainable in a certain agency because of the population or the amenities that facility or that city has,
Mhm.
then could help diversify the skill sets to make them better in the future. So I think where I go is always a mystery.
Yeah.
I'm not a person that has one specific goal, because if I'm too focused on having one goal, I may miss other opportunities. And I want to be able to say yes and just lead with heart and
Yeah.
hope and love and see where my life goes.
That's good perspective. If you could give a bit of advice to those just starting their career in Parks and Recreation, what would you tell them?
If I could talk to like the students or somebody who's just getting in, I would say try everything. Say yes to things, job shadow, go outside of your comfort zone, see things that are outside of your own city. Check out other events, check out recreation programs that are happening, because there's not one right way to do things, and there are probably different facets to recreation that you don't know about. There could be things like campground hosting, park rangers, aquatics.
Right.
In some agencies, the library services are still under a recreation department. Aging services, there's so many different nuances. Or maybe you just want to support in an administrative role, like those still exist and they're
Yeah.
much needed. Capital improvement projects, there's still people who are working the backside, or maybe landscape architecture. And so the more that you ask questions, the more that you show genuine curiosity, the more that you try, the more options you're going to have in the future. If you just say, I'm only going to try one thing and this looks good on paper, and you go that way, that's great for you. But I would really urge everybody to diversify, meet people, network, and just try to learn as much as you can, because there's so much out there and there's so many wonderful people in this industry that always are there to help you. The rising tide lifts all boats. And so as long as you are along for the ride and willing to lift up others around you, the same is going to come back to you.
Absolutely. Well, I really appreciate you sharing your story with me. It's been really nice to take a break from conference and catch up with you and learn more about what I didn't know. So thank you so much, Becky. Again, pleasure. And I look forward to seeing you throughout the week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's a wrap.
Are you a vendor, brand, or service provider ready to connect with the heartbeat of local communities? At DPRS Media Co., we tell the stories shaping parks and recreation across America. Through podcasts, live streams, videos, and newsletters, we reach frontline leaders, city directors, and decision makers every single week. From youth sports and facilities to programming and policy, our audience is your audience. Sponsoring or partnering with DPRS Media Co. puts your brand in front of the professionals who build, budget, and buy for their communities. Launching a new product, growing your presence in public spaces, targeting cities, counties, or departments, DPRS is your trusted media partner. Whether you're in software, turf, aquatics, robotics, smart cities, or special events, partnering with DPRS puts your brand in the story. With commercials, interviews, social campaigns, newsletters, and live shows, we're your media team. Partner with us and grow your impact in the $200 billion Parks and Rec industry. DPRS Media Co. Stories that move Parks and Rec forward. Your audience is here. Let's meet them.